Hello everybody, this is just a quick video. It's to do with the online PDP and it's analysing my Myers-Briggs personality test. Now the Myers-Briggs personality test is a series of, I think it's 35, maybe 50 questions that you have to ask, and then it would give you an outcome of to what kind of personality type it thinks that you are. There are various different personality types within a grid. You can have a look at them. I'm going to post the results for this. The written results for this at the bottom of this page, so if you have a look for that, then you'll be able to look through this with me as we go through. The personality test that the personality type that the test came out with was that I was a troubleshooter, or ESTP. Now the main personality types of those is that, according to this, is that I'm social, confident, pragmatic, charismatic, and I like to treat life as an adventure. Now I can recognise certain aspects of that in here. I'd like to think that I'm fairly confident, quite pragmatic, sort of no nonsense, and I'd like to be social to socialise with other people. One of the there's sort of several headings going through here, sort of explaining how how it thinks that I deal with various aspects of my life. Now I'm just going to go through and sort of say whether or not I agree with those or not. The first one is, why do I work? So why do I go for employment? Why do I go and do what I need to do? Now it says here that it's to provide for to provide for material needs, as a social forum, and to satisfy needs for tangible results. So, I mean, I suppose something to provide for material needs. I mean, that is obviously that's true for everybody. I do go to work and to provide for. I've got a I've got a young family, so obviously I've got to provide for them. So I do recognise that as something that may be the case. As a social forum, I mean, again, I mean, as much as anybody else, really. I mean, it's nice seeing people at work. It's not the end of the world. I think I've found that I have worked equally well either on my own or elsewhere. Yeah. So I mean, as I say, it's not a terribly bad thing. It's something that I can recognise, but it's not something that I would maybe say is vital. The next little bit that I can see on here is that it satisfies the needs for tangible results. So I mean, I do like, obviously, I like to have a little bit of payback if I've done something. I like to see the fruits of my labours, as it were. Obviously, it's quite nice to get a kick out of that. The next section we've got here is work I want. So three things that it's pulled out for me here again is freedom in work is required, that I like to be flexible, and also quite interestingly as well, flagged up the armed forces or emergency services as something that maybe something that I would look at. The reason why I'm saying that's quite interesting is I actually served time in the army previously, so I mean, obviously that is quite an interesting way to look at things. Again, there's a slight clash in the three things that it's thrown up here. It's suggesting the armed forces and emergency services, but it's also said that I like to be flexible and freedom in work is required. Now, it's not a huge amount of flexibility in the armed forces. Again, freedom when you're in work isn't really top of their priorities either. So I mean, I would enjoy those things, and that is something that I have looked for since I've left the army. But it's quite interesting that it threw out those three different things for me there. In terms of time management, it says that I like high stakes. I don't tend to plan ahead quite as much, and I can be subject to some aspects of poor time management. I think this is definitely something that used to be accurate. It's a lot better now. I find that I've I'm a lot better at organising myself nowadays. So there's a variety of different ways that I tend to. I recognise that in myself, and I have various coping mechanisms now. So I do things like I write huge amounts of lists, to-do lists. Post things up on my walls. Tend to write things on various places where I know I'm going to see them. So that I've got various things that do help me with that now, and as well with sort of technology moving on, and having like a diary on my phone and things like that, then it's a lot easier. But yeah, it's something that I do recognise, and it's something that I am a lot better at. So it's quite interesting that it's pulled that up. But again, I would say that's probably more an issue that I used to struggle with when I was younger than now. Yeah. The next section is the contribution. So bringing individuals into a team. And dealing with difficult people. Now, I would agree with both of those things, to be honest with you. I do like bringing people into a team. I don't like to see people excluded. I think that everybody's got something to offer when it comes to teamwork, to group work. It can quite often be the people with the quietest voices that have the most to say. So, yeah, I mean, that's definitely something I recognise. I can't stand seeing people excluded. And again, the next one, dealing with difficult people. Now, throughout a variety of jobs that I've had in the past, I've had to deal with, high volumes of people who were annoyed about something, had complaints, had issues. I've worked for BT. Obviously, I've been in the army. I've worked as a technical support person over the phone as well, which again, you can come in for a lot of stick, but it's all just learning how to deal with people, empathise with how they're feeling at the time, and sort of bring them down to your level to work together to get a resolution to whatever is going on at the time. The next little section that I've got here is how others see me. They see as active, fun, and good company. That was very nice of them to say so. What you see is what you get, and enjoys banter, possibly less as I get older. Now, again, I would recognise all of those things. Hopefully, I am active, fun, and good company. That's nice for it to say so. Yes, I mean, I can't really argue with any of those things. Just to run through sort of some of the things that throughout the whole thing that I agree with. I mean, I agree I'm possibly socially pragmatic and no nonsense. I tend to call a spade a spade. I don't like huge amount of sort of management speak or jargon or whatever else might be happening. I mean, this again is through my in IT specifically, with dealing with people who aren't IT specialists or aren't people who are experts in any particular IT area, is that you need to be straight to the point, no nonsense, and be unambiguous really in what you're saying, to be easily understood. So again, I'm a huge proponent of that. Need to work on time management. We spoke about that. As I say, I would agree with that. It is get a lot better, and it can get better again. But yeah, that's something that I would recognise. Sorry. I like to be flexible. I don't thrive on deadlines and a framework. I do find that in my day-to-day life. I find that if I try and force myself to do to meet certain deadlines or whatever else, then I possibly don't produce as good work as I would if I sort of do things when I feel that I'm ready to do them, or like feel like I'm excited about doing this today or whatever else. So yeah, I mean it's not to say that I can't stick to deadlines. I certainly can, but I'm more comfortable, and I feel that I produce better work if I'm less pressured. Yeah, some of the things I disagree with that it's gone through here. It says that I'm poor at taking people's feelings into account before acting. Now, I would say that that's almost the opposite of me. Maybe in the past I've been a little bit worried about hurting people's feelings, and maybe I've stopped myself from pushing certain aspects or making people being worried about making people feel bad or uncomfortable when really maybe they should be feeling bad and uncomfortable because they've not done what they were needed to be doing. So yeah, I mean I think that's a little bit off that. Career choices again is I flashed up teaching, something that I'd be like to go into. I would agree with that entirely. I think that's definitely something that I could look into. That's been sort of a long time goal of mine for a while, so that's definitely something that's very relevant to me. Anyway, so if you would like to have a look at it in any further detail, there should be a link to it at the bottom of the page here. Yeah, thanks a lot, and thanks for listening. Cheers.